Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about Neo-Nazism due to the various hate groups emerging across the world. I'm going to focus on the groups that are or should be taken seriously and utilize three sociological perspectives: structural functionalism, symbolic interactionism, and critical theory. A few questions to address before we start. Why does Neo-Nazism need to be addressed? Well, Neo-Nazis are known to threaten human rights, especially for minorities, social stability, and our democratic values as well. So why is Nazism still an issue after World War II? We can boil it down to the persistence of ultranationalism, economic distress, xenophobia, and racism. Anti-immigrant sentiment is a great example, as well as Russia's invasion of Ukraine having a part in fueling the rise of the party. So what is currently being done about the issue? Well, I wish I could say a lot more. Just last year, a video was posted of a dozen masked men in Columbus, Ohio, carrying Nazi flags and yelling racial slurs to the public. Other than President Biden commenting about the abhorrent scene, police briefly detained some of the group, but decided to release them because they determined no laws were broken. In Italy, right-wing politicians believe their focus should look away from rising fascism and instead be solely on leftist and Islamic extremism. Some Australians believe there is a mass immigration problem that needs to end. While not necessarily linked to prominent neo-Nazi organizations, anti-immigration ralliers around the country definitely share similar views with neo-Nazis and fascists. Fortunately, there are several community groups who have organized anti-fascist counter-protests across the country. These are just a few examples of responses to neo-Nazi activity around the world. I'm sure there are many other examples, so I suggest searching articles after this presentation. The biggest issues with white supremacists and hate groups is they encourage violence and terrorism to outsiders, especially minority groups. This also leads to discriminatory actions causing social and psychological harm to targeted communities. Neo-Nazi groups on Facebook, for example, like to spread hate speech and create propaganda for recruiting members. They undermine democratic institutions by supporting an authoritarian state, much like Hitler's Germany. Here we have a few groups that are making rounds across the globe. On the right, I supplied a few images. We have on the top the leader of the American-found group Blood Tribe. Next is the flag of the Antipodean Resistance in Australia, and the bottom, the extreme right organization Alternative for Germany. The rise of neo-Nazism is a symbol of enemy. The ideology provides a false sense of belonging to individuals who feel alienated or disconnected from mainstream society. Their belief is a social dysfunction. Its core ideology of racial supremacy, ethnic nationalism, and violent extremism undermines the fundamental institutions that are essential for a stable, healthy, and cohesive society. One could argue that society's strong negative reaction and condemnation of neo-Nazism serves a purpose by reinforcing moral and social boundaries. By identifying and punishing these extremists, society clarifies its norms and promotes social cohesion among the non-extremist majority. Neo-Nazis share collective us versus them worldview. Over time, these groups construct negative meanings and stereotypes about minority groups through repeated, hostile social interactions and communication. The movement uses symbols such as the swastika and the black sun to communicate a shared subculture who represents hatred, racial purity, and defiance. They adopt the concept of a warrior self-image by internalizing the ideology, making it a central part of their self-concept. Critical theorists, like the ones shown on the left, trace the roots of Nazism and its modern offshoots to flaws within Western civilization, arguing that the rationalism of the Age of Enlightenment in Europe and the instrumental reason of capitalism can be corrupted to serve oppressive ends. A critique of the culture industry can be applied to neo-Nazis creating their own cultural productions, like music, videos, and online propaganda to spread their message and recruit new members. Critical theorists have sought to explain why individuals gravitate towards extremist movements, one reason being the rise of the internet and social media platforms having fueled a new wave of right-wing extremism, with extremist violence in the United States largely traced to the influence of these platforms. Here are some things we can do to help stop this appalling and ignorant thinking. I'm not going to list off all of these, but I will mention a few. The first I suggest is to educate ourselves, because knowledge is power after all. Speaking up, I know it's hard to do, but silence is seen as a form of compliance. There is a good amount of pressure on elected officials these days, but I think we can do a lot more, and we definitely deserve more from the people that we elect. In conclusion, neo-Nazism is a complex issue that can be better understood through sociology. If we learn about this issue, we can confront the hate that no one deserves and help prevent it. That about wraps up this short presentation. I hope you all learned a bit about the rise of neo-Nazism and how it is a growing issue in our society. Please let me know if I missed any crucial info or made a mistake. Thank you, and au revoir.